Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it would be fair to say that my country, the Maldives, is in the heart of the Indian Ocean. The Maldives straddles the equator, stretching over 800 kilometers from north to south. We are an archipelagic nation of 1,192 islands. Our islands are small, our population even smaller. But we are a large ocean state covering over 1 million square kilometers of the mighty Indian Ocean. Looking out from where we stand in the Maldives, the waves of the Indian Ocean looks massive. The vastness of the ocean spreads as far as the eye can see. The reality is that these waves, these waters of the Indian Ocean, have always had the potential, have always had the ferocity to engulf us. A reality seen all too often, clearly during the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004, where most parts of the Maldives went completely underwater for a few fearful minutes. Yet, for over 2,500 years, my people have lived with this reality, primarily by respecting the ocean, the marine ecosystem for what it is, and the power it represents. And secondly, by adapting, by learning to live in harmony, by learning to harness the bounty and the gifts of the ocean sustainably to our benefit, and protecting these resources without misusing it to our detriment. We are the children of the ocean. Our entire livelihood is reaped from the abundant resources of the vast ocean that surrounds our tiny isles. This relationship of mutual dependency, I believe, offers important lessons for our world today. Today, we are witnessing a high level of conflict and chaos, rising hatred and fear, persistent inequality. 1 in every 9 people is hungry and undernourished. Over 2 billion people live in conflict zones, the resulting instability leading to hunger, poverty, displacement, the destruction of homes, economies, livelihoods, and the natural environment. Between 4.7 and 12.8 million metric tons of plastic are floating around in the ocean, choking the marine life, impacting food systems and health. Climate change threatens to undercut all progress, presenting a clear and a highly possible danger, especially to the maritime countries of the world. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we can face this world at war through harmony, learning to adapt, adjusting our consumption and production, understanding each other, embracing our differences, and striving to use and manage resources sustainably. Learning to respect, learning from each other for tolerance, peace, and harmony. I wish to thank the External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. Jaishankar, and the Observer Research Foundation for inviting me to speak at this year's Raisina dialogue. It is indeed an honor for me to address this gathering, to share a few thoughts from the perspective of one of the very small states in this region, and indeed in the world. Our mission here at the Raisina dialogue is simple: to focus on the most pressing global challenges of our times, to discuss solutions, exchange ideas, figure out linkages we might have missed, identify how we can work together, ensure that those solutions work, make sure that they are sustainable. Like I said, simple. The significance of all of us gathering here in New Delhi is not lost to us. India is one of the fastest growing large economies of the world. By 2050, India is set to soon become the most populous country in the world, with a young, vibrant, and educated population. the world's largest democracy. Quite simply, what happens in India is going to affect every country across the world. Standing here in India, we are surrounded by the vast vistas of the Indian Ocean. This ocean that is fast becoming, or one could argue has already become, the new arena of global geopolitics. For the Maldives, the ocean has been an undeniable part of our domestic and foreign policy. We recognize the important position we occupy in the Indian Ocean. The major sea lines of communication go through the Maldives. 90,000 vessels pass through the Indian Ocean every year. This is equal to almost 10 billion tons of cargo, including 36 million barrels of oil per day, more than 65% of the world's oil trade. This undoubtedly makes the Maldives an important link in global trade, in addressing global challenges such as the trafficking of narcotics and people and organized crime, where continuous stability in the Indian Ocean is fundamental for the security of the Maldives. And indeed, a stronger, prosperous, democratic, and a politically stable Maldives is necessary for the security of the Indian Ocean. In recognition of this mutual dependency between the Indian Ocean and the Maldives, His Excellency President Saleh has prioritized our relationship and engagement with the Indian Ocean countries. The objective is to ensure that the Maldives has strong relationships with the countries of the Indian Ocean region, to contribute meaningfully to the protection of the order in the Indian Ocean and benefit from the security of the region as well. We recognize that for us to do our part, we need to be able to foster our national resilience through focusing on development at every level, at the household, island, atoll, and national level. And through focusing on sustainability, the principles of democracy, good governance, the employment of people, and respect for human rights in seeking economic development and political stability. Ladies and gentlemen, the best plans to deliver economic development or political stability in the Maldives will never become reality without building our resilience towards the imminent threats of climate change. The facts on climate change are grim. The latest reports estimate that human activities have caused approximately 1 degree Celsius of global warming above pre-industrial levels. This means more extreme weather conditions, rise in sea levels, warming oceans, and loss of natural habitats, among several other changes. With increased warming, exposure to risk associated with sea level rise is amplified for small islands, low-lying coastal areas, and deltas. In the Maldives, climate change is leading to significant beach and land erosion, coral bleaching, and disruption of weather patterns. Warming of the oceans as well as the ocean acidification impact the health of the marine environment, the coral reefs, and the fish. For a country that depends on fisheries and tourism for its foreign currency receipts, which are then used to import almost everything, from food to soap, this poses a difficult problem. Today, the need for decisive action on combating climate change is paramount. Decisions that meet the ambition for a 1.5 degree world, ambition that means enhanced action and support for loss and damage through a fit-for-purpose Warsaw International Mechanism, ambition that aims to close the mitigation gap and delivers robust guidelines and rules on markets, ambition that delivers a new climate financial goal. Our government is striving to lead by example. We understand that our contribution may not be a significant impact in reducing global emissions, but we cannot afford to keep idle. We aim to eliminate single-use plastic by 2023. We aim to increase the contribution of renewables in our energy mix significantly. We aim to increase efficiency of electricity production and usage. We have taken action to protect natural habitats, declare large expanses of our area as protected, and adopt measures to protect natural barriers such as mangroves and reefs. The Maldives also needs to construct coastal and shore protection barriers to build climate-resilient, safer islands. 3 decades have passed since the smallest countries of the world got together in the Maldives to discuss the adverse impacts of sea level on small states. The climate science was at its infancy then, but those small island states called on the world to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. From there, the Maldives, with Trinidad and Tobago and Vanuatu, led the like-minded coalition of small island states, the AOSIS. Today, a major negotiating bloc not only on climate change, but also in raising awareness about challenges of small island and low-lying coastal areas. At the 1992 conference, which I had the privilege of attending as a young Foreign Service officer, we agreed for the first time that small island developing states present a special case for sustainable development, a significant step in addressing the unique developmental challenges faced by island and low-lying coastal nations. Ladies and gentlemen, a problem well stated is a problem half solved. Such is the case with climate change. Often we hear climate change defined as an environmental challenge. Others described it as an economic challenge. But more importantly, for the Maldives and for the world over, climate change can best be described as a security and a human rights challenge. On 17th April 2007, when the United Nations Security Council held its first ever debate on the impact of climate change on international peace and security, I reminded the Council that a mean sea level rise of 2 meters would suffice to virtually submerge the entire Maldives, the death of a nation. And last year, in January, I reminded the Council again of its decision in 2011 to include the Secretary General's report to the Council, conflict analysis and contextual information on the possible security implications of climate change. When such issues are drivers of conflict or represent a challenge to the implementation of Council mandates or endanger the process of consolidation of peace. In fact, in resolutions on Lake Chad Basin in 2017, the UN Assistance Mission in Somalia in 2018, and the Presidential Statement on the Security Situation in West Africa, Sahel region in 2018, the Council has recognized the links between security, peace, and climate change. In these regions and in other parts of the world, climate-induced disasters such as drought or famine caused by desertification are causing large-scale mitigation and displacement. We are already seeing how scarcity of resources and intensity of weather events exacerbated by climate change can cause devastation, social disharmony, and in many cases, chaos, instability, and conflict. We understood many years back that the impacts of climate change would undermine the human rights of communities living in affected areas. How the physical impacts such as sea level rise, causing permanent inundation and flooding, erosion, extreme weather patterns, increase in sea temperatures, and so on, can have deep and far-reaching implications for human lives and livelihoods. We understood because we saw this unfold in our own country. This led us to forge the Mali Declaration on the Human Dimension of Climate Change. In November 2007, I took this declaration to the Human Rights Council and tabled a resolution at the UN Human Rights Council on the human impacts of climate change. These were the actions that led to the creation of the Special Rapporteur on Human Rights and Climate Change in 2015, who is doing seminal work in underscoring this important link and bring to focus the human rights aspect of this debate. For small island and low-lying coastal states and the maritime nations, the threat of climate change will undoubtedly be more acute. Often these are the states that have done little to create the problem, but impacted the most. Often these countries are among the least developed, or the measures that need to be adopted are too expensive to be supported by domestic resource mobilization alone. Both these groups of countries need financially in transferring technology and know-how, and in advancing indigenous solutions. Such is the case in the Maldives as well. The mutual dependency between the Indian Ocean and the Maldives, the dependency that meant that any instability in the Indian Ocean would impact the peace and subsequently the development of the Maldives and vice versa, means that any change, be it geological, geopolitical, or geoeconomical, will have a magnifying impact on the Maldives. At the same time, believing that other countries will not be affected by climate change is a red herring. Climate change will and is already affecting all nations of the world. And the sooner we join together to address this overwhelming challenge in a meaningful way, the sooner we can mitigate, the sooner we can adapt to the rapidly occurring dangers of climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges of our time, such as those posed by climate change, require open discussion, the exchange of ideas, identifying linkages, and working together. The magnitude of these challenges require thoughtful solutions that are sustainable, solutions that are workable. Such challenges require a convergence of opinion and close alignment of policy perspectives. And it is this closer policy alignment that today provides invaluable opportunities for the countries of this region and the world to work together to deliver meaningful change in order to foster national resilience and the enhancement of the ability of every state, be it small or large, to contribute meaningfully to bring lasting peace and strategic stability to our region and beyond. I thank you.